Welcome to this explainer. You've worked your entire life, paid that mortgage every single month, and finally hit the ultimate American dream, owning your home free and clear. It feels amazing, right? But what if I told you that popping the champagne and celebrating that final payment actually puts a massive bullseye on your back? Today, we're going to urgently unpack the hidden vulnerabilities of owning a paid-off home. And more importantly, we'll reveal the exact roadmap, 5 crucial, mostly free documents that stand between you and losing literally everything you've spent decades building. Let's get right into it.
Okay, let's kick things off with a number that honestly should absolutely shock you: $3,200. Keep that figure locked in your head because it represents a completely 100% preventable tragedy. We're not talking about some obscure legal theory here. This is the very real, terrifying gap between the protections you're legally entitled to and what you actually know about.
And this story perfectly illustrates that devastating reality. Just recently, in 2024, a 78-year-old retired postal worker in Detroit, a guy who owned his home free and clear, lost his entire $91,000 house to the county government. Why? Over that tiny $3,200 property tax debt. You see, his wife had passed away, his income took a hit, and he just fell a little bit behind. The county didn't negotiate, they didn't offer him a payment plan, they simply seized the house, sold it at auction, and this man received absolutely $0 in return, not even a dime of his remaining equity. But you know what the absolute worst part is? The one document that could have saved him was literally sitting on his county's website for free. He just didn't know it was there.
So this brings us to what I call the paid-off home trap. Think about it. When you have a mortgage, the bank has a huge financial stake in your property, right? They monitor the title, they run automated systems to catch weird filings. They are constantly looking out for fraud. But the second you make that final payment, boom, that protective oversight vanishes. You are officially off their watch list. Now anyone can jump onto public records, search for 30 seconds, and see that you have zero debt attached to your home. This tells scammers 2 things. You've got a ton of equity, and absolutely no one is watching the vault. Your home's equity is sitting there, highly visible and completely unmonitored. It makes you the biggest target on the block. So let's talk about putting up your very first shield, the Homestead Declaration. This is a super simple 1-page form you file at your county recorder's office, and it officially activates your state's legal protection over your primary residence. It's basically a free 30-minute chore that acts like a brick wall against unsecured creditors. Now, by unsecured, I mean debts not directly tied to your house. We're talking medical bill collectors, credit card companies with court orders, civil lawsuits. If you have this declaration filed, they cannot legally force the sale of your home to collect their money. Your equity becomes legally untouchable.
Now, the rules for this protection are really localized, so the shield looks a bit different depending on where you live. Let's talk about the massive variance across different states. Down in Florida and Texas, you get unlimited protection. Your house could be a $2 million mansion and creditors can't touch a single penny of it. California protects somewhere between $300,000 and $600,000 depending on your specific county, while states like Massachusetts, Nevada, and Minnesota have their own very specific, robust caps. But listen to me. Here is the absolutely critical takeaway. You have to proactively file this form. It is almost never automatic. If you don't file it, your protection is exactly zero. Think about it. Nobody profits from you filing this, which is exactly why the county, the hospitals, and the credit card companies are never ever going to tell you about it. All right, moving right along to document number 2, the property fraud alert. This is your frontline defense against the absolute worst kind of scammers, the ones who target unmonitored homes by forging deeds. Here's the scary truth. In most counties across America, documents are filed first and verified, well, pretty much never. A scammer sets their sights on an older homeowner, forges a deed, files it with the county clerk, and then either takes out a massive loan against the property or just outright sells it. A property fraud alert is a completely free county service that pings you with an email within 24 hours if literally any document, a deed, a lien, a transfer, is recorded against your property. And if you skip this step, you could end up in a nightmare scenario like Susan down in Tampa. Susan was 68, living by herself when some scammer secretly transferred her home to a shell company and yanked out a rapid, high-interest cash loan against her house. By the time she finally realized what happened, the scammer was long gone with the cash. Susan had to drain $22,000 in legal fees just to prove to the courts that she still owned her own house. A school teacher in Nevada went through the exact same nightmare and burned through $14,000 in lawyer fees. A simple automatic 24-hour alert would have stopped both of these disasters dead in their tracks.
The crazy thing is, setting this up takes literally 5 minutes and costs $0. You just hop online, go to your county's official website, and search for Property Fraud Alert, or sometimes it's called Property Watch. Type in your name, punch in your property info, and boom, you're done. That's the whole shebang. You are officially guaranteeing that you'll be notified the very second someone tries to mess with your title.
Okay, let's talk about document number 3, enhanced title insurance. Now, when you originally bought your home, they probably slid a standard title policy across the table at closing, and if you're like most of us, you just blindly signed it. But an enhanced title policy is a totally different beast. It's an upgraded safety net that specifically shields you from future illegal transfers and identity theft, the exact kind of scams that target your deed years, even decades down the road.
When we compare standard and enhanced side by side, the difference is night and day. And it's exactly why you need to call your title company this week and ask about an upgrade. Standard title insurance, it only looks backward. It protects you against hidden liens or forgeries that happened before you bought the place. If a scammer forges your deed tomorrow, that standard policy does absolutely nothing to help you. But an enhanced title policy, that looks forward. It actively covers future fraud, future identity theft, and crucially, it covers the $20,000 to $40,000 in legal fees you need to fight a scammer in court. Yes, it does require a one-time fee to upgrade, but trust me, it is one of the smartest investments you can make. Now, I need to hit pause on the protections for a second because we need a stark reality check here. Absolutely nothing, not your homestead declaration, not your shiny enhanced title insurance, nothing can stop the IRS if you ignore your federal tax bills and they slap a lien on your home. Retirees get hit really hard by this one. Maybe you do a Roth IRA conversion, miscalculate the tax bill, or maybe you get a big lump sum Social Security payment and suddenly, boom, you owe a bunch of taxes. If you get scared and stop opening your mail, the IRS doesn't just go away. They place a lien. In 2024 alone, the IRS issued over 700,000 levies. You absolutely must stay current, open every single letter, and if you do owe money, jump online immediately and set up an installment agreement to freeze those collection actions.
All right, moving on to document number 4, the Revocable Living Trust. This document is a massive game changer because it brilliantly solves 2 giant problems at exactly the same time. First off, it physically removes your personal name from public property searches. It's literally like throwing an invisibility cloak over your house. So when a scammer is scrolling through public records looking for free and clear properties owned by seniors, your name doesn't pop up. The trust's name does. You still own the home, you still live there, you have total control, but you essentially become a ghost to predators looking for an easy mark. On top of that invisibility cloak, a trust completely bypasses probate court. If you don't know, probate is the slow, agonizingly expensive public legal process of handing out your assets after you pass away. It routinely eats up anywhere from 3 to 5% of your estate's entire value. Having a trust spares your grieving family the absolute nightmare that Robert's kids faced out in California. Robert didn't have a trust, and his children bled $38,000 in lawyer and court fees and had to wait 18 excruciating months just to settle his $850,000 house. Setting up a trust usually costs somewhere between $1,000 and $3,000 upfront. When you look at the math, it is an absolute no-brainer. Just make sure, please, that your home is actually titled in the trust's name once the paperwork is done. Finally, we reach document number 5, the Senior Property Tax Exemption. Guys, this is the exact piece of paper that could have completely saved that Detroit postal worker's home from being seized. Almost every single state in America offers some kind of massive property tax reduction, or even a total freeze, for homeowners once they hit age 60 or 65. The financial relief available across the country is truly staggering when you break down the numbers. Texas will slash your taxable value by up to $200,000 and completely freeze your school taxes. Florida freezes your entire home assessment. New York just expanded their program to chop assessed values by up to 50%. Illinois hands out an $8,000 reduction. But here is the massive catch. These discounts are practically never automatic. You have to proactively pick up the phone, call your county assessor, and formally apply before their annual deadlines, which, by the way, usually hit early in the year, around April 30th. If you've been paying full-price property taxes since your 65th birthday without applying for this, you have literally been throwing money away every single year. And ignoring these exemptions leaves folks on fixed incomes entirely exposed to aggressive counties and greedy private investors when property values inevitably shoot up. Just look at Margaret up in Chicago. Her property taxes skyrocketed, nearly doubling from $3,800 to $6,700. Well, her Social Security checks certainly didn't double to match that. She fell behind by just 2 years. The county aggressively sold her tax debt to a private investor, and Margaret lost the bungalow she loved. She's now living in a tiny 1-bedroom apartment with her daughter.
The system is brutally efficient. It's designed to move fast and collect revenue. Permanently lowering your tax burden is hands down your absolute best defense.
So here's what we're going to do. I want you to grab a pen and physically write down this 5-step checklist. Stick it right on your fridge. Seriously, this is your exact action plan to knock out this week and construct a flawless legal fortress around your home. Step 1, go file your homestead declaration. Step 2, hop online and sign up for those county fraud alerts. Step 3, call your title company to verify or upgrade to enhanced title insurance. Step 4, sit down with an attorney to get a revocable living trust in place. And Step 5, call your county assessor and apply for that senior property tax exemption.
Every single one of these 5 documents exists right now, today. They aren't secrets, but nobody in your daily life has a financial incentive to actually sit down and tell you about them. Scammers, aggressive creditors, and honestly, sometimes the system itself are banking on the fact that you simply don't know these highly effective tools are out there. So the question I'm leaving you with is this: will you take action today? Will you dedicate just one single afternoon to legally lock down and protect everything you have worked your entire life to build?